My dad sent me a text at 2 in the morning, grab your sister and get out now. Do not trust your mom. So I did exactly that. The phone screen practically burned my eyes in the dark. 3 short sentences that sounded impossible, until they didn't. Dad was on a work trip in Seattle, 4 days into one of those monthly consulting trips he took like clockwork. He was always predictable. He never texted after 10, never used urgent language, never said anything meant to scare us. This message broke every rule. Careful and controlled as he was, it could only mean something had gone seriously wrong. I was 17, old enough to tell the difference between adult overreaction and real fear. This felt like pure fear, squeezed into a few words. I threw off the covers, grabbed the clothes on the floor, and pulled on jeans and a hoodie while my brain tried to catch up. Do not trust your mom. Mom was downstairs in the living room where I'd left her an hour ago, watching true crime documentaries and sipping wine, like she did most nights. Normal suburban mom stuff. Nothing visibly strange. But Dad wouldn't send that text without a reason. Telling me to grab my sister and run wasn't paranoia. It was a warning. I shoved my feet into sneakers, grabbed my backpack, dumped out the books, and threw in my laptop charger and the $300 I'd been hiding in my drawer, mostly 20s. I'd never had a good explanation for why I kept that cash, but suddenly it felt like the most important thing I owned. My sister, Lena, was 12 and slept like a stone. She didn't stir when I hurried into her room. I moved slowly, opened her door carefully, and the hinge creaked just a little, loud enough to make my heart jump. She was tangled in her blankets, only her dark hair visible, breathing deep in that heavy sleep kids get. Waking her quietly was going to be hard. Waking her the wrong way could bring Mom upstairs, and Dad's message had been clear about not trusting her. I knelt beside Lena's bed and gently shook her shoulder. Her eyes snapped open, startled. Before she could speak, I put a finger to my lips and leaned close, whispering into her ear. Dad sent an emergency text, I breathed. We have to leave right now, without Mom noticing. I'll explain when we're safe. You have to trust me, and you have to stay quiet. Lena's eyes widened with fear and confusion, but she nodded. She grabbed her glasses from the nightstand with shaking hands. I'd already pulled jeans and a hoodie from her closet and pressed them into her arms, signaling her to move fast. She slipped them on over her pajamas, clumsy with nerves. I shoved her feet into the nearest sneakers, no time for perfect laces. Her bedroom window faced the backyard. I'd removed that screen enough times to sneak out with friends that my fingers knew exactly where to pry. The screen came free with barely a sound. The drop was about 8 feet into the flower bed, messy, but softer than the patio. I slid both backpacks out first, watching them land in the dirt. Then I helped Lena climb through the window. She froze at the edge, staring down like the ground was miles away. I gripped her wrists and lowered her as far as I could before letting go. She dropped the rest of the way with a muffled thump that sounded deafening in the quiet. I went right after her, landing hard, rolling instinctively. My ankle twinged, but it held. Lena stared at me, questions written all over her face. I grabbed her hand and ran. We probably had minutes, if that, before Mom noticed anything upstairs. The fence was nearly 6 feet of wood. I climbed using the lattice as footholds, swung a leg over, and dropped into the neighbor's yard. Lena struggled more with the height, but I talked her through it, steady and low, and caught her when she jumped down. We ran through 3 backyards until we reached a street 2 blocks from our house, both of us panting. Only then did I pull out my phone again and reread Dad's message, searching for some detail I'd missed in the panic. The timestamp showed 2:03 a.m., sent 7 minutes ago. No follow-up. No missed calls. Just those 3 sentences hanging on the screen like something explosive. I tried calling him. It went straight to voicemail, his calm, professional greeting completely wrong for what was happening. I tried again. Same result. His phone was off. Lena tugged on my sleeve, her voice rising with nerves. What's going on? I showed her the text. In the pale street lamplight, I watched her face drain of color. What does he mean, don't trust Mom? I don't know, I admitted, forcing myself to breathe. But Dad wouldn't say that for no reason. We need to get somewhere safe and figure out what's happening. I tried to sound calm, even though I had no plan beyond getting us out of the house. We were on a quiet residential street at 2 in the morning, nowhere to go, and we couldn't reach the only parent who'd told us to run. Then my phone buzzed with a new message, this time from Mom. "Where are you girls?" I heard noise upstairs. The casual tone felt wrong, like she wanted to pretend nothing was happening. Or maybe, for her, nothing was happening, and Dad's message was the problem. Before I could decide what to do, another message popped up. "This is not funny. Come down now or I'm calling the police." The threat landed strangely. What would she even tell them, that her teenage daughters left the house at night? We weren't missing. We hadn't been taken. We'd left on our own, following Dad's warning. Unless she had a reason to pull authority into it. Unless she needed us brought back fast. Lena started crying, soft, shaky, the kind of crying that happens when normal life shatters without warning. I put my arm around her shoulders and kept us moving toward the 24-hour convenience store a few blocks away. At least there would be bright light. At least there might be people. At least we wouldn't be alone in the dark. My phone kept buzzing as we walked. Mom's messages grew sharper, confusion turning to anger, anger turning to threats, each one tightening the knot in my chest. The store was nearly empty. A bored clerk stood behind a security window, scrolling on his phone. Lena and I huddled near the coolers, trying to look normal even though we were two kids in hoodies at 2 in the morning, trembling like we'd run from a nightmare. I called Dad again. Voicemail. I texted him, "We got out. Where are you? What's happening?" And stared at the screen like my willpower could force it to light up with an answer. Then my phone rang. Mom's name flashed across the display. It rang 3 times before I answered. I put it on speaker so Lena could hear too. Her voice came through tight, wavering, barely holding itself together. "Where are you? What is happening?" I wake up and both my daughters are gone, the window's open, "You're not answering," she swallowed, sounding genuinely scared. "You're scaring me to death, honey." And she really did sound scared and lost. Nothing in her tone sounded like a threat. But Dad's message kept hammering in my head, the urgency, the precision, the way it had yanked us out of the house like the floor was on fire. "Mom," I said into the phone, keeping my voice small and shaky on purpose, like I was still a kid who didn't know how to lie. "Dad texted me. He told me to take Lena and leave. He said not to trust you." There was a pause. Not the normal kind, where someone searches for words. The kind where the air goes cold. Then she let out a laugh that didn't fit her face, didn't fit the soft suburban tone she'd been using a second earlier. "Oh honey," she said, and the sweetness came back too smoothly. Your father isn't well. He's been having episodes. Paranoid ideas. I didn't want to scare you girls, but he's off his medication. He's in Seattle spiraling again. Please. Tell me where you are so I can come get you." My skin prickled. Dad didn't take medication. Dad didn't spiral. Dad didn't do dramatic. And then I heard it. A faint metallic jingle on her end. The clink of keys. A sound like a door closing. A low hum like a garage motor. She wasn't downstairs in the living room. She wasn't even in the house. She was already moving. I kept my face neutral for Lena's sake, but my hand tightened around the phone. We're safe," I lied. "We went to a friend's. We'll talk in the morning." "Which friend?" she asked instantly. The warmth dropped out of her voice like a switch being flipped. "Whose house are you at?" My stomach turned. Lena's eyes locked onto mine, wide and glassy, and I knew she heard it too, the change. "We'll call you later," I said, and I ended the call before my voice could betray me. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. "She's not at home," I whispered to Lena. "She's in the car." Lena made a small sound, like a sob trying to hide inside her throat. I turned my phone off. Not silent. Off. Then I pulled her closer and walked us deeper into the store, into the bright, humming out lights where cameras could see us and someone else's eyes might, too. I tried to think like Dad would. Precise. Practical. One step at a time. We needed a safe adult. We needed law enforcement. We needed answers. But if Mom really was hunting us, calling the local police could be exactly what she wanted, an official way to drag us back before we could tell anyone the one thing Dad had told me: do not trust her. I stared at the clerk behind the glass. He looked bored. Tired. Like a guy who had seen a million weird nights and didn't want to be part of any of them. My phone stayed dark in my hand. For 30 seconds, the store felt like the only real place left on Earth. Then I turned the phone on just long enough to check for messages. One new text. Unknown number. This is Special Agent Reeves, FBI. Your father listed you as an emergency contact. Do not go home. Call this number from a secure line immediately. My knees went weak. FBI? For a second, my brain rejected it. It felt impossible. Like the wrong movie was playing over my life. Then my fear rearranged itself into something sharper. Dad wasn't panicking into the void. Dad had a plan. He'd been preparing for this. I grabbed Lena's hand and pulled her outside, to the dusty payphone bolted near the vending machines like it belonged to another decade. My fingers fumbled for quarters. I shoved them in, one after another, like I was feeding a machine my future. The line rang once. Twice. Agent Reeves, a woman answered, brisk and steady, like she'd been waiting for my call. This is, I swallowed hard. This is his daughter. He told us to run. Good, she said. Stay calm and listen carefully. Are you both with me? You and your sister? Yes. Do you see your mother? No. Do not go anywhere with anyone who isn't law enforcement. Do not let your mother touch you. If she shows up, you go back inside immediately and you stay where cameras can see you. My throat closed. What is happening? A pause, then her voice softened, not warm, just less sharp. Your father has been helping us. He was gathering evidence on a criminal operation connected to your town. Tonight he missed a check-in. If he told you to run, it means his cover may have been compromised. Lena was shaking beside me, holding my sleeve like it was the only solid thing left. And my mom? I whispered. Agent Reeves didn't hesitate. Your mother is a primary suspect in a federal investigation. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. If she's looking for you right now, it's not because she's worried. It's because you're leverage. My vision blurred for a second. Leverage. Like we were objects. Like our safety was negotiable. Lena made a small, terrified noise, and I realized tears were running down my face without permission. I need you to tell me exactly where you are, Agent Reeves said. Store name. Cross street. Anything you see. I forced myself to look up, to read the street sign, the gas station across the road, the faded name on the store window. I told her. Good, she said. Units are already moving. Stay inside. If you see her car, you do not wait. You go inside. If anyone approaches you, you say nothing? Understand? Yes. And listen, she added. You did the right thing. Both of you. I hung up and pulled Lena back into the store. The fluorescent lights felt harsher now, like they could expose us. I kept us in view of the front windows and the cameras above the registers. I bought Lena a bottle of water and a granola bar, not because she could eat, but because I needed my hands to do something normal. We sat on the floor near the cooler wall, backs against cold metal, breathing in shallow little pieces. Minutes passed like hours. Then, through the glass doors, headlights swept across the parking lot. A familiar SUV rolled slowly into view. Mom's car. Lena gripped my arm so hard it hurt. I didn't move. I didn't blink. I just watched. The SUV didn't park like someone stopping for groceries. It drifted. It prowled. Then it stopped crooked near the entrance. The driver's door opened. Mom stepped out. And in that moment, something in me finally snapped into place, not proof, not logic, but instinct. She wasn't confused. She wasn't frantic. She was focused. Her head turned, scanning, searching, like she was looking for a dropped set of keys. Except she was looking for us. Inside, I breathed to Lena, and we slid farther down the aisle, still visible to the cameras but not to the front doors. Mom walked in. Her face rearranged itself into concern the instant she crossed the threshold, like she had practiced it in a mirror. "There you are," she said too brightly, too loudly. "Oh my God, you scared me." She started walking toward us. I stood up and stepped in front of Lena. "Stay back," I said. Her smile twitched. "Sweetie, what are you doing? Come here. We need to go home." "No." Her eyes narrowed just a fraction before widening again, fake soft. "Your dad is sick. He sent you that message because he's not thinking clearly. He's dangerous right now. You have to come with me." "I'm not going anywhere with you," I said, keeping my voice level even though my heart was sprinting. "I called Dad." Her face froze. Not because of fear. Because of calculation. "You called him?" she repeated, too calm. I lied. "Yes." Her gaze flicked, fast, toward the exit, toward the parking lot, toward time. Then she laughed again, that same brittle sound. Okay, honey. Let's not make this worse. Just come outside for a second. We can talk in the car where it's quiet." I didn't move. Behind the clerk's glass, the bored guy had finally looked up. His posture had changed. He was watching now. Listening. Mom's voice sharpened, barely contained. "You don't understand what you're doing." And that was when I heard it, sirens, distant at first, then growing closer, like the night itself was finally waking up. Mom heard them too. Her head snapped toward the windows. Then back to me. For a split second, the mask slipped completely, and what looked out through her eyes wasn't my mother. It was a stranger. She stepped toward me anyway. I moved again, blocking Lena, my whole body shaking with adrenaline. The doors burst open. Two people came in fast, not in uniforms, but with that unmistakable certainty of professionals who knew exactly where they were going. "Ma'am," one of them said, voice hard. "Step away from the minors." Mom's face brightened instantly, like relief had arrived. "Oh, thank God," she said, rushing into her role. "Officer, my daughters." The woman who had spoken glanced at her badge as she lifted it. "Federal agent," she corrected. "Hands where I can see them." Mom's smile faltered. Her gaze darted again, hunting angles. The second agent moved between her and us. "Girls," the first agent said, gentle now, eyes on me. "Are you okay?" I nodded, even though my body felt like it might dissolve. Lena made a small sound and clung to my hoodie. "Come with us," the agent said. "We're getting you somewhere safe." Mom's voice rose, desperate and furious at once. "This is insane," she snapped. "You have no idea what you're doing. He's lying to you, your father is lying." "Ma'am," the second agent warned. Mom took one step back. Then another. Then she lunged, not at us, but toward the door. Everything happened at once. Agents moved. The clerk yelled. Lena screamed into my shoulder. Mom hit the parking lot running. And for half a heartbeat, I thought she would get away. But another car rolled in, blocking her path. More agents. More lights. Mom stopped like she'd hit a wall, turning in place, wild-eyed, realizing the net had already closed. They put her in handcuffs right there under the harsh parking lot lamps, while she screamed our names like she was the victim. The agents didn't let us watch. They guided us out the side, into an unmarked vehicle. Lena's whole body was shaking in silent sobs, and I kept one arm around her while my other hand gripped my backpack so tightly my fingers went numb. As the car pulled away, I saw Mom's SUV still sitting crooked by the entrance like a mistake left behind. And I realized something that made my stomach drop even deeper. If the FBI was here for Mom, then Dad wasn't just on a work trip. Dad was in danger. At the safe place they took us, an office that wasn't a police station, but felt even more controlled, Agent Reeves finally appeared in person. She was exactly how she sounded, sharp-eyed, composed, the kind of woman who could walk into chaos and immediately find the center. She sat across from me at a plain table and slid a paper cup of water toward Lena. "Your father has been cooperating with us for months," she said, steady and careful. "He discovered financial activity tied to your mother that didn't make sense. He came to us before he confronted her. My throat tightened. Where is he? Reeves' expression didn't change, but the truth still landed heavy. We don't know yet. Lena made a broken sound, and I reached for her hand. Reeves continued, laying it out piece by piece, how a normal life can be built like a stage set, how someone can smile at the dinner table while living a second life behind your back. How real estate, on paper, can be the cleanest hiding place for dirty money. How the investigation wasn't just about fraud, but organized crime, people who didn't want witnesses, didn't want loose ends. And you girls, she said softly, were the loose ends your mother could not afford. I stared at the tabletop until my eyes burned. All I could see in my head was Mom on the couch with her wine, watching true crime like it was entertainment. Like it wasn't her. They kept us in protective custody. They didn't call it that at first. They called it somewhere safe, temporary, until we locate your father. They took our phones. They moved us before dawn, through back doors and quiet hallways, like we were made of glass. Hours blurred. Then a day. Then another. Lena slept in short bursts, waking up crying. I stayed awake until my body gave up, and even then I dreamed of the sound of keys jingling in the dark. When they finally found Dad, it wasn't cinematic. It was brutal in its simplicity. He had been held long enough for someone to try to scare him into shutting up, long enough for him to miss his check-in, long enough for his absence to make Reeves move fast. But he was alive. When I saw him, he looked smaller, older, like someone had scooped the certainty out of him and left only the bones of routine behind. He held Lena first. Then he held me. And for the first time since that text, my body remembered how to breathe. The case didn't end quickly. Nothing in real life does. There were interviews, statements, lawyers, documents laid out like puzzle pieces. There were days where Dad's hands shook when he thought no one was looking. And there was Mom. Not in the soft sweater she wore at school pickup. Not in the bright smile she gave neighbors. In court, she looked furious that the world had dared to see behind the mask. She tried to say Dad had manipulated us. She tried to say the FBI was framing her. She tried, at one point, to look at me like I was still a child she could steer with a single warm word. It didn't work. Because the moment she laughed after I told her what Dad texted, I knew. And once you know, you can't unknow it. Dad testified. He spoke like himself, precise, controlled, except for the tiny tremor in his fingers that he couldn't fully hide. Mom was convicted in federal court. Agent Reeves didn't celebrate it, didn't turn it into a victory speech. She just told us the facts, like she always did. Sentence, 25 years. Afterward, people in town looked at us differently. Some with pity. Some with curiosity. Some like they were trying to figure out how close danger can live to their own houses without anyone noticing. We moved. Not far at first. Then farther. Dad said it was safer, and I didn't argue. I had learned what safety actually meant: distance, anonymity, doors that lock, routines that don't invite attention. Lena asked once, late at night, in a voice so small it made me ache, was she ever really our mom? I didn't know how to answer that. Because she had kissed scraped knees. She had packed lunches. She had smiled in family photos. And she had hunted us in the night. So I just pulled Lena close and said the only true thing I had left. I don't know. But we're here. And Dad warned us. And you trusted me. That's what matters. Even now, years later, I still wake up sometimes and check my phone before I'm fully conscious, like my body expects the glow of another message. Not because I want to relive it. Because part of me will always believe that 3 sentences can split your life in 2. And because the best advice my father ever gave me came at 2 in the morning, in the dark, when everything I thought I knew was about to burn away. Grab your sister and get out now. Do not trust your mom.